Making videos for your classroom assignments can be a lot of fun, but you also need to have strong technique. You need to know how to write, produce, and edit for your videos. And you also need to think about the aspect of time. So it normally takes about 3 days to produce a really good quality video for a classroom assignment. The first day you're normally writing, that's called pre-production. Then you're recording on the second day, that's production. And then finally you're editing, which is post-production. You also need to be very organized. You need to reserve studio and think tank space for your group. You also have to have everything you need each day. And then finally, you need to take care of the equipment that you borrow from the Learning Commons. Fortunately, we've created 3 different videos that will help you through the steps of creating a great video for your classroom assignment. Our first video will help you to design your storyboard and make a script. The second video will teach you how to complete all of your filming, and the third will teach you how to complete all of your video editing. You are currently watching the third video where you will learn how to edit your video, which we call post-production. We recommend using one of our MacBook Pros in the Learning Commons to complete all of your video editing. The first thing that you will need to take care of is downloading all the files that you had recorded on the iPad that you borrowed. And to do that, you are going to go to Google Drive. You will then search using your last names for a folder in the drive. Once you've found that folder, you'll be able to select all the files that you would like to download and then actually download them to the computer. It's very important to wait until your file has completely downloaded before you grab that and drag it over onto the desktop. What you drag on the desktop will most likely be a zip file. So you will need to double click on the zip file and then it will create a new folder that has all of your video files inside of it. If you are using green screen in your editing, now is the time for you to Google image search or use another image search program to find backgrounds that you will be using in your video editing. If you do use Google search, I would recommend to use the Tools button and find image sizes that are 2 megapixels or larger to ensure that it doesn't look grainy or distorted when you bring that into the editor. Save the image that you have chosen to the desktop by using a 2-finger click on the trackpad or using a right click on a mouse. And then just name the file whatever makes sense to you and make sure that you save it to the desktop. Now that you have all of your files ready, it's time to launch iMovie. Once iMovie has loaded, you will create a new movie. And then you will also create a new event. You can import all of your files by clicking on the import button. If you want to click just one image at a time, you can. But you can also import multiple files by dragging across those files and then clicking on the import all button. You can add your footage or files into the timeline by clicking on them and then dragging them down into the timeline. It is important to remember that if you are using an overlay, the background has to be the primary clip. There's a feature or tools panel above the preview panel in the top right hand corner of the screen. You can change things in your clips such as audio by selecting the clip. You'll know that it's selected by having a yellow box around it, and then you can click on something like the volume and then mute, as you can see on screen. In video editing language, getting rid of your green screen is referred to as a chroma key feature. So you can do that in iMovie by using the overlay tool. So the first thing you do is you select the clip that you want to remove the green screen from. Then after selecting the overlay tool, you'll click on the drop-down menu and select green/blue screen from the list. While it is recommended to have all of your clips already imported into iMovie before you begin editing, It is possible that you may find that you need additional clips, or you may have forgotten to do so before starting. So you can always go and search online, grab images, save them to the desktop, and import them into your event after the fact, which is what's being shown on screen right now. When working with clips in your timeline, you can adjust the scale factor by modifying the interval tool, and you can see that on screen right now. This helps you to see whether or not you need to trim your clips. Sometimes if your lighting is not perfect, you'll find that the blue green screen overlay feature needs an additional set of tools to kind of do some touch-up. So the first one is the Chroma touch-up tool. Once again, that's inside of the overlay tool. And that just takes out some of that graininess that you might see. The second tool is called the Chroma Intensity tool, and it's just a toggle that kind of increases the amount of intensity of the actual chroma that is happening on the screen. But you should note that sometimes if you increase the intensity, other things will become transparent as well. Another useful tool in the Chroma set of tools is the cutaway tool. This uses the four corners to bring in or cut away some of your foreground clip. And what that does is if you have something in your shot that is not part of the green screen, maybe you got some of the wall, you can cut some of that out. But notice that it also will cut other features, so you have to be really careful with this tool. Otherwise things can kind of look a little weird. Now the green/blue screen is not the only multi-frame option that there is in iMovie. So you can also choose from things like a split screen or a picture-in-picture. If you would like to use some of these other overlay features and you also want to use the green screen feature, what you will have to do is first create a video with the green screen editing, export that, and then come back and add another overlay feature with the published video that you've already created. This is something that you'll have to do with other features, including transitions as well. There are three different framing or cropping features in iMovie. The first is the fill feature, which takes your entire clip and makes it fit as best as possible. There's also the crop to fill, which actually gives you a rectangle that is the correct dimensions and allows you to determine what portions of your clip you actually want to see. It also allows you to kind of move that around a little bit so that you can focus on certain portions of your clip. And then finally there's also the Ken Burns effect, which actually kind of adds a little bit of movement where you can choose a beginning and an ending frame, which is not shown on video. Clipping and trimming are the ways in which you will modify the length of each of your clips. So basically how this works is you will first select the clip that you want to adjust. And to trim, you will take one end, either the beginning or the end, and then you will drag in a direction to delete portions of your clip. Another useful adjustment tool is the clip splitting tool. Basically what this entails is you will select a clip, you will then use the timeline indicator, and where the timeline indicator is located is where you will actually split your clip. And so you're basically segmenting one clip into two separate clips when you do this. So once again, you would just select the clip, choose the location that you want to split from. You'll either two-finger click or do a right click on a mouse, and then select split clip from the menu options. Once you do that, you'll have two separate clips, and you can select either of those, move them or adjust them or delete them as you are editing. You can record voiceovers using the microphone icon, which is right below your preview panel on the left-hand corner, as you can see on screen. All you have to do is click that, and then you can begin the recording process. The MacBook Pros have excellent internal microphones, but you can also use an external USB microphone if you want even better audio quality. Another popular tool to use is the transitions feature, but it is important to note that transitions only work on your primary timeline. As you can see in the video provided, the transitions will only apply to the primary line. It will not apply to the secondary line, and so therefore all of my green screen clips cannot have a transition on them. The solution to this is to make all of your videos without transitions when you're doing the green screen editing. Publish the video and then bring it back in and then add transitions. Filters are also another useful feature to use, but also note that they will only work on the selected clip that you are working with. Once you are finished with all of your editing, it is time to export or publish your video. So you do that by clicking in the top right-hand corner and choose the File option. You will then name your file by selecting the title at the top and then hit Next. And then you are going to choose the desktop as the location to save. You will have to wait a little while for it to process, and you can watch the orb in the top right-hand corner to watch its progress. Once that little circle goes all the way white, you'll then get a pop-up notification that shows that your video has been processed and is available on the desktop. At this time, it is recommended that you preview the video by double-clicking on it. In this way, you can make sure that everything that you have done is accurate in the way you want it. Once you are happy with your video, you can then save it to the drive. You will save it back in the same folder that was shared with you on Nagel Students Google Drive. You will likely need to wait a little while for it to upload. While you're doing that, it is also recommended that you take all of your source files and drag and drop those into the Google Drive folder as well. This way you have everything that you have worked on, so if you need to go back, you don't have to find those same images and different files again. The last thing to do is to just tidy up the desktop by selecting everything and moving it to trash.